Hey PV, welcome to Community Connection. I'm Alex Walker. Ever wonder how you can go green? Well, today we'll show you how with ABC Solar and Bradley Bartz. Well, tell us a little bit about who is supplying your solar panels and how you went about finding them.
Sure. We had used a company named ABC Solar for our other house. They put up about 36 panels for our other house last year, and we were quite happy with the installation. It wasn't an easy installation. It was actually on steel I-beams above the pool. And we were happy the way that came out aesthetically and the way it turned out from an energy perspective. We have basically no energy bill. So we used ABC again for this house, and Brad Bartz is the owner of ABC Solar, and we found him to be, quite good when it comes to interesting challenges like this one or our other house. So it worked out well, I think.
If you could just explain a little bit about the history of this house and its reasons for going green?
Sure. My wife and I have always been modern architecture enthusiasts, and we love Palos Verdes. We moved here from the New York area. But we couldn't find many modern houses here. So we have a house on Colt Road that's also a flat-roofed modern house. And when this one came up about 6 months ago, we sprung for this one as well. Just to say something a little bit about the house itself, this house is from 1964. It was designed by an architect named Foster Rhodes Jackson, who was a fellow and student of Frank Lloyd Wright's. And it's a flat roof modern house. It's all open to the elements and the sky and the ocean view. And interestingly enough, in '64, it was an all-electric house. I was told by the sons of the original owners and builders of this house that his parents didn't want any mold, any dust, any wind blowing through ducts, anything like that. So they decided to go all-electric, which meant the heating is simply wiring in the ceilings. It also has an electric water heater, and there's no gas supplied to the house. So we had energized our other house about 12 minutes from here on the other side of the peninsula with solar panels, and we thought it would be great to do this one too, especially since it's an all-electric house. So our hope is that this very modern and somewhat novel tracking system will supply all the electrical needs of the house. We're not living here yet. Our sons may end up living here. We hope they'll move here. But the solar as you will see as you get your tour from Brad, this solar system is actually a tracking system. It follows the sun, and you get about 30 to 40% more electricity out of that than you would with a normal stationary solar panel system.
Okay, and just how much electricity for your house is being provided from the sun?
Well, this should end up generating about 4,500 watts. Okay, and that should be more than enough to cover the house. Now, if we get a cold day in the winter and we crank up all this in-ceiling heater wiring, I don't know if it'll keep up, but it should. As it stands now, under normal conditions, it should be more than enough to power the whole house.
So, Brad, tell us a little bit about your company.
Well, ABC Solar is a small solar electric company based in Rancho Palos Verdes. We founded the company back in 2000 during the energy crisis, when I could look over the expanse of Los Angeles and see a bunch of naked roofs. And so with my telescope, instead of looking up at the sky, I kept seeing dollars on all these naked roofs. So when I started, I went to some of the old timers in the business, and they were all pure solar geeks. And so I fell in love with them, and they were kind enough to teach me some of the old tricks, as long as I pass on that information, and I do, to other folks.
Okay, if you want to dispel some of the myths out there about solar panels, because in the past they've been very cumbersome, very big, expensive to install, and most people don't understand the cost benefits of putting them on their homes.
Mm-hmm. Well, solar panels are a very high-tech device. They've been around for about 40 years. They're primarily used in space, where some of the most America's best scientists have been put to work inventing these panels so that we can keep satellites and TV live and in space. And then over the years, you know, the price per watt has come down to such a level that we're now in the consumer revolution of solar. So Mr. Brill's house, for example, now will be a zero energy home, and these panels will pay for themselves in about 8 years. And they come with a 25-year warranty that says they'll be working at 80% of what they're doing today in 25 years. So after 8 years, he's got literally another 20, 25, 30 years of electricity free of charge. So the panels, you know, some of the myths and, you know, the misconceptions that I see about them are, well, when the first time I had a system inspected in Rancho Palos Verdes, the inspector said, "Where does the water go?" So I had to explain, you know, that we're working with light, not heat, and we're making electricity. One of the other myths about solar panels that I think is very interesting is Mr. Brill will make more energy here in the same light than you would in Barstow. And the common, misconception is, oh, the desert, great place to go for solar. Well, it's not, because this is an electronic device, and so the hotter it gets, the less efficient it is. Here in 70-degree perfect Palos Verdes, these are operating at their laboratory maximum efficiency. So it's another misconception that people have, that the desert is better. No, it's actually right here in Palos Verdes.
Okay, I bet a lot of consumers want to know how much the initial installation cost is going to be of installing a solar panel system.
Well, for homes that don't have air conditioning or don't use it all the time, like around here, you're looking at about $30,000 to install a system before rebates and tax credits. And the rebates and tax credits bring it down another $10,000 to a $20,000 investment. So the way I've been explaining it recently is because Edison's rates are so high, this is a better investment than your cash deposits. So by taking your money and moving it into solar, you're getting a better rate of return. You're not paying Edison, and you're saving the environment. Mr. Brill's system will cut back almost 8,000 pounds of carbon a year from his footprint. And again, have a zero bill. And for Mr. Brill, luckily enough, he's what we call a very early adopter. This is the first rooftop installation with tracking systems. So before this, they were always installed on poles. So a great company in Washington called JX Crystals invented this, ring and this setup to allow us to have tracking on the sun, which I think Mr. Brill may have told you increases productivity 30 to 40%. And so Eric has been leading the way with these installations, and I get to learn through the process, and luckily enough, I'm able to find great technology and put it here.
Well, if we have homeowners out there that would like to install a solar system, what are some of the first steps they need to take to do so?
The first thing you want to look at is your bill over the last 12 months, and you want to get your average kilowatt hour usage a day. Basically, for those of you that like math, each 1 kilowatt of solar panels, which is about 6 of these, will generate 150 kilowatt hours per month. So if you take that number 150, divide it into your average, that's the size of system that you need. And the other variation is, what is your goal? There's 2 goals in going solar. One is saving the most money. 2 is the environment and going to zero. The first goal, you want to look at your bill and target half of it, because Edison has 5 tiers of electricity rates. The more you use, the more you pay. So the highest ROI is cutting off the first half, which is all the most expensive electricity. And then if your target is zero, we target down to zero. Like Mr. Brill's homes are zero energy users. And, they're going to get to buy more toys in the future because they have a little bit of surplus, which is nice, because Mr. Brill has taken his system not only in producing energy, but he's using something called time of use metering. So for every credit he's putting back into the system, he's getting 1.8. So it's a game of arbitrage. So when you're thinking about taking your home solar, you want to look at what your bill looks like what your roof looks like. Now, in my industry, we say south is best, east and west are 10% less. So if you want to put them on your north roof, I'll put them in your garage. So it's a wide range that we can work with for installing your system. And there's no worries about art juries. There's no worry about planning. California state law says no local government shall stop solar installations based on aesthetic reasons. So if you live anywhere where you have to go through planning, I'm your guy to walk you right through the system. And sometimes they grumble, most of the time they don't. You know, Rancho Palos Verdes has been terrific. They don't promote that they're green, but their behavior behind the counter is proof to me that they're pushing it forward. Because if you look at other